1-0. 2-1. Ah ja. Steht hier einer? Ist das okay? 7, 3, 9, 4, 3. Ja, was passt nicht? Ja, schon. 2, 6, 0. Bitte sehr. Danke dir.
5-1-3.
So mag ich das. Bitte sehr. Achso, wie machst du? 1, 4, 7. Oh, guten Morgen. Okay.
Welcome back to Ruhpolding for day 2 of the 5th stop on the World Cup Tour. 4 more days of action to come here at a course which boasts a rich history in the sport, hosting 4 World Championships. The fans are out in force today, a combined capacity of 30,000, both in the stands and around the course, as we continue the action today with the women's 15-kilometre individual, the first full-length individual competition of the season for the women. So strap yourselves in for an afternoon which no doubt will have its twists and its turns. It's 5 laps of 3 kilometres, 4 shooting stages, no penalty loops, but a 60-second penalty for each miss. And alongside myself, Ellen Ellard, to guide you through it all with an expert eye, is former Team USA biathlete Chad Salmela. And Chad, the weather, well, it's perfect conditions today, isn't it?
Yeah, the clouds went away. We had some nice snow, winter weather yesterday, but it was a little bit right near freezing, so it was a little wet and slippery today. It's going to be great conditions for shooting. The wind is up a little bit, but wind in Ruhpolding is fairly minimal in general on the shooting range. But your detail on the minute per penalty for missed shot, that is the entire story today. This is all about shooting well.
It is indeed, and Ruhpolding took no prisoners yesterday, and particularly in the rain. Johannes Tingersberg falling to his worst finish of his World Cup career, failing to take any points. He said it was a real nightmare, especially in terms of his fitness. He was very tired. The podium in Oberhof was misleading. It's taking him longer to recover from illness than he'd hope. And before we get into the women's start list, also worth pointing you towards a great video on Biathlon World Instagram about just what was said from Emilia Jacquelin's perspective as he skied past Johannes Tingersberg and inspired him to finish the race. So if you haven't already, do go and give it a watch. So Chad, we'll move quickly from one yellow bib to another, and Franziska Preuss looking to bounce back from Oberhof, and well, what better place to do it than where she lives and trains in Ruhpolding. She achieved her first ever BMW IBU World Cup podium here in the mass start in 2014-15. Her first ever win was here as well in the mass start in the 18-19 season. 3 times she's been part of winning German relay teams here, but Chad, she's never competed in Ruhpolding as the total score leader. 116 points is the advantage over Jeanmonnot. And how does that change the dynamic for her today?
Well, she hasn't really been a World Cup points leader for very long either, just a portion of this season, for the first time ever in that yellow bib. But there's something different about waking up at home and in your own bed and going to the venue that you train on every day. In some respects, it makes it a little bit easier, but in other respects, the pressure of the German public at this venue for the Germans, they talked about it in Oberhof. It doesn't get any easier in Ruhpolding. It maybe gets a little bit harder. The crowds swell in size. So I think the biggest thing for Franziska Preuss is try to find the fitness that she had prior to Oberhof, where she didn't ski very, very well at all. Try to find that ski speed, and then find the groove that she's had when she was having fun doing biathlon. Because biathlon is never fun when you're stressed and you're thinking about winning. It's more fun when you just let it go and let the result come to you. And I think that's what she's got to do today to be at the top of the order.
So Franziska Preuss, the yellow bib holder, bib 58 today, bib 44, Jeanmonnot, the short individual winner in Contiolate, 20 out of 20 she shot on that day, and she is wearing the red bib. No Ingrid Lammerk-Thundervold, she's moved straight over to Antholt. She's skipping this stage, and she was in good form, Chad. She'd recovered from heart surgery to correct an arrhythmia in her heart. Podium in the mixed relay with the Norwegian team, but she's skipping this stage. And when we talk about mixed relay, you have to mention Elvira Erberg, who brought home a brilliant finish, helped in a huge amount by the leg of her sister before her as well. And she certainly wanted to watch today.
Yeah, Elvira Erberg can afford a miss, maybe even two misses, and still win this event, because she's out skiing the field in a 6 kilometer relay by nearly a minute. So, you know, her closest competitors are 30 seconds back, and the rest of the field a minute to a minute and a half back. You compound that by another 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers to a 15 kilometer race, and that projects out to like 2 to 3 minute ski advantage she has. So Elvira Erberg, watch for her to be competitive as long as she hits 17 or better. That's a pretty nice proposition for a world-class athlete. But also, just talking about Ingrid Thundervold, you know, we heard about Johannes Tingesbø. He's struggling a little bit, and it's the 3 races together or 4 races in a week that make it tough for these athletes to recover.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can see Michaela Kolala on our screen. Bib number 1 today, a personal best of 16th from the sprint in Oberhof. 3 of her 4 top performances have come this season. She is in the form of her life, and well, she will be getting us underway. Day 2 here in Ruhpolding, the 5th stop on the BMW IBU World Cup Tour. So 102 athletes with 2 DNSs as well, so we're down to 100 athletes today as we are underway in the women's individual 15-kilometre race. First full-length individual competition of the season for the women. And Chad, while on the subject of Elvira Erberg, we have to mention as well, smashing the world record, advancing from 67th in the sprint to a podium finish, surpassing the previous record held by Florence Balvel-Robert since Oslo at the turn of the millennium. That was 32nd down to 3rd as Leno Lefinch of Slovenia, wearing bib number 2 today.
Yeah, it was at this venue actually back in, I believe it was 1996. The men's, in the first year that the pursuit was held on the World Cup, Patrice Bailly-Salin of France went from 60th to 3rd, shooting clean. That showed us all what was possible right at the very impetus of this event.
Emma Kapustova, 20th World Cup start, 22 years old.
This is great opportunity for her to go from the front of the field. Any one of these athletes in the first 15, slightly higher rated than the athletes at the back of the field, still have IBU Cup points that get them in the top 15, but then the 15th to 30th will go from bibs number 16 through 44, and then 45 through 60 will feature the first through 15th ranked athletes in the World Cup overall, and they're all separated by a lower ranked athlete in between.
The new start groups, perfectly described there by Chad, new for this season, with more high-ranked athletes going in the middle of the field. But, well, Chad, as much as we say that, we have got some really exciting names going in the top 20 today, and our highlighters have been hard at work through that first 20. Ida Lean, We'll see her up shortly, wearing bib number 7. Hannah Urberg as well, who we've spoken about in terms of the relay, the 2018 Olympic champion in this discipline, wearing bib number 10. Here's Regina Ermitz. She's run very hot and cold in the range this season, but her personal best 8th, set in the short individual in Kontiolahti.
Yeah, it gives her a little bit of a confidence going into this. This is her best discipline, and she has her high water mark, and it happened already this year. So, you know, there are a lot of people in this top 15 starting, and this is the first one I was going to talk about. Number 7, Edeline, coming off the IBU Cup a few weeks ago. So she doesn't have a lot of World Cup points to be ranked higher. And Hannah Urberg has simply had a rough start to the season. She's only ranked 45th in the overall standings. And here we see Edeline. This puts her early in the start of her and somebody to watch, because she actually has been on the podium in this event. Her only podium is in an individual at the last World Cup stop last year in Austin.
Yep, and well, we usually see the individual competition as a shooter's race, but she is so quick on the skis, the 4th fastest skier this season. Only Brisa Boucher, Elvira Urberg and Anna-Maria Lampic are ahead of her in terms of that ranking. So bib number 7, someone to keep your eyes on.
Got a nice view of Uwe Musik on there, the shot. He was the former mastermind of the rise of German biathlon back in my generation, two to three generations ago. Nice to have him on hand here. We see a relatively new starter on the World Cup. She's been around for a while, bib number 8. And Stephanie Scherer in just her 2nd World Cup start, 28 years of age.
Yeah, her first start was Kontiolahti in 2020, the last race before the COVID cancellations. Great to see her back. 2nd World Cup start and first since 2020, almost 5 years ago.
This is Anastasia Tomacheva of Romania. Got a Fifth Element hairdo going on there. Looks like she spends a lot of time on that. It's fairly distinctive, and you see it even in her biopic.
Well, here we go then. Hannah Urberg, a brilliant 3rd leg on the mixed relay in Oberhof last weekend, and we really saw glimmers that she could be back to her best. She's wearing bib number 10 today, the 2018 Olympic champion in this discipline. 4 individual wins and 6 podiums in her career, but no top 10 finishes this season. Could today be the day?
She's looked relatively flat the entire season until Oberhof just a few days ago on Sunday. What I want to watch with her is her first 2 split times on the ski course. I want to see where those are. If those are good, I think she's on a good roll, and she will contend today, because this is Hannah Urberg's absolutely best event. 4 victories in this individual event.
Yeah, she's followed out by bib number 11, Paradis of Canada, the 22-year-old, her best finish this season, 34th in the short individual in Kontiolahti. Lucy Savatova of Czechia, 11 World Cup starts.
This is another person starting after Hannah Urberg that I want to see how Urberg is doing against her in the early times, but it's just on the skis, because Lucy Savatova is a fast skier, and not a lot of athletes in this early start are as fast as you need to be to win. But here's one of them, Paula Botte.
Yep, certainly one of them, the 24-year-old sprint winner in Oberhof, 17 World Cup starts. She was 14th in the pursuit, couldn't quite back it up the next day. But, well, what a performance on her return to the World Cup circuit after a number of years.
From other Olympic relay medalist, Veronique Claudel from 1992 Olympics, who was in that inaugural women's relay silver medalist with France. And she's carrying the torch of that family's legacy. There's Lydia Zhoroskaita now of Lithuania. Zhoroskaita, best finish for her, 31st in World Cup competition. 27th start of the World Cup. You can see she's already getting caught by number 5 behind her. 9.4 seconds off the time of Michaela Carrara, the current leader at 1.9 kilometers, with 4 people through. The key to the start of this individual is to get a smooth start. You don't want to go out and you want to have a smooth performance. So find your groove. You don't want to be You don't want to be uneven with your skiing. You don't want to be uneven in any way, shape, or form. You want to get into a nice, smooth groove and just kind of roll through the entire 15 kilometers without any real high points or low points. Just keep it smooth in your head, in your skiing, and on the range.
Lena Häcki-Gloss. Switzerland with some really strong performances. 2 men in the top 10 yesterday. And well, they'll be hoping for the same again today. The short individual winner in Antwerp last season. One of 2 victories and 4 podiums last season. But she's admitted that we're not seeing her at her best through the first trimester and the turn of the year.
Well, Switzerland arguably at probably the high water mark of their history in the sport of biathlon, both on the men's and women's side. Here's Michaela Curraro now, first shooter in. And you see the back split. She's no one to compare to because she's been number 1, but at 2.3 kilometers, she's still leading by 7.4 seconds. Watching for that very solid, simple recoil, straight up and down. Just a little bit of left and right in that recoil. A little bit of lateral pressure on her cheek, on the stock. It's 4 for 5, and everybody knows 4 for 5 is not where you want to start in an individual. It's an extra minute added to her time. That split changes instantly when the shot is missed. It goes from jumps a minute ahead. 9:44.9, the time to beat is Lena Rippitz now, number 2, trailing by 10 seconds coming into the shooting range, and she hasn't missed as well. Oh no, she's clean, or else the graphic is not correct. Oh yeah,
hard to tell because we have the blank shot on the graphic, but I do believe that she's gone clean.
Well, I don't need a huge test here because bib number 9 started 30 seconds ahead of Hanna Öberg, and Hanna Öberg has already overtaken her at the 1.9 kilometer mark, and she's overtaken Ida Lean by 10.6 seconds at 1.9K. Hanna Öberg's back, people.
It's a very quick start indeed, and particularly when you look at those around her, including Ida Lean, in comparison to some of the early orders that we've seen at the start of either the sprints or the individuals, the short individual, and of course yesterday with the men. Because of those around her, that 10-second gap advantage is already looking like she means business.
Sure, Skaita. Lots of movement getting into position. Not a fan of the way she moves the stock into her shoulder. You really want to set everything up and keep it there tight from the moment you put it in place. The adjustments tend to throw you out of your normal natural point of aim with the prone shooting so minute, the amount of space you have for a mistake, that you have to be absolutely exactly the same every time you get into position. She's got a miss, trailing by 11.6 seconds now.
Yeah, all 4 of the athletes through shooting 1 with small ones next to their name. Everyone has missed so far. There's Regina Ermitz.
The wind graphic, 7 kilometers an hour, but again, it's mostly coming straight at the athlete, coming right into the round. If anything, it might actually cause the spin of the bullet might cause it to rise with a headwind, but it's not strong enough headwind. 1 miss for Ermitz, so still nobody clean from shooting number 1 with 6 athletes through.
Yep, we have Dimitrova, the only clean athlete. She leads the way through shooting 1. Regina Ermitz, 43 seconds behind her. Here's Ida Lean.
95% prone shooting. This is the strength of Ida Lean's biathlon career, the skiing and the prone shooting. So she needs to get all of them because her standing shooting is only 65% on the season, and that's up from last year, 63% last year. So Ida Lean, not a real surprise to be leading at this point with bib 7, being a 4% faster than the average of the field skier. Pretty well matched. Actually, she's statistically faster than Hanna Öberg so far this season, but Öberg is on a good tear so far on the course.
Ida Lean into the lead, 21.7 seconds. Dimitrova of Bulgaria.
And some nice shots. Share 2 nice center hits right on the edge at 11 o'clock. Solid hit at a 10. Takes her time, solid hit at 10. One shot nearly out there, but Stephanie Scher breaks the trend and goes clean. First clean shooter on the day, will not take the lead. Oline was clean, sorry, excuse me. Scher second clean, and then Dimitrova was clean as well.
Here's Hannah Öberg.
Oh, and she's shooting pretty quickly. Looks very confident. This is a good Hannah. This is the Hannah Öberg everybody fears.
Yeah, 5 out of 5. 14 seconds her advantage coming into the range. Clean through it, and she will be our leader after shooting one with 10 athletes through that point.
You know, you watch frustratingly as these athletes struggle all season long, and then something clicks. So whether it's number of races they've had, maybe it's a combination of the recovery they've had and the stresses they've had in racing, but Hannah Öberg is clicking today. We'll see, but we're gonna have to wait for we're gonna probably have to wait till at least Linda Hackey-Gross, if not further, all the way down to in the bibs in the 40s with Lou Jeanmonnot in 44 to see if it's actually a competitive time. But right now, she's got 21 seconds on Ida Leen, which is a significant amount of time.
Shrivastava dropping down into the prone position for shooting stages, and we alternate prone and standing in this 15-kilometer individual.
It's the only discipline that does that 4 shooting stages where they alternate prone, standing, prone, standing. And good shooting by Shrivastava. She's clean. Not going to take it on the time of Hannah Öberg, but should move into at least third, if not second.
Saw some very solid performances from the Czech athletes yesterday. Schneider of Germany.
Sophia Schneider has been absent from the World Cup, reportedly from health concerns. There's a miss from Paula Botte, surprise winner in Oberhof. In the
2 misses. That's not the start that she would have wanted at all.
Well, she flew with the Eagles last week. She's kind of down on the ground with the rest of the world, the rest of the animal kingdom this week, and not a good start for Botte. She's going to have to clean from here to have any chance, even probably of a top 10 at this point.
Such a different beast, isn't it, Chad? These 15 kilometers, these full length into individual competitions.
Well, even just watching the format, it's more difficult to follow for the viewer, but it's basically like a golf tournament, and it moves at a little slower pace than the rest of the sport because you're just trying to set marks at different times of the course. It's a long event. It's going to take upwards of an hour to finish this event, so you have to be very patient, very steady, and this is why Hannah Öberg is so good at this event. She's better than anybody in the modern era. She's probably the best individual athlete or individual competitor on this course at the moment because Dorothea Viera has more wins than her, but she's not anywhere near the fitness that Hannah Öberg is showing today.
To Gascolan. And 5 out of 5. Decent start, coming in 26.7 seconds behind, but the Swiss fans scattered amongst the crowd. They were very happy with what they saw then, and their attention quickly turns to Lena Hackey-Gross, bib number 16. But a first miss for Hackey-Gross.
Yeah, Hackey-Gross's time is 22 seconds off the time of Hannah Öberg coming in. You see 22.4 seconds. She's not really in it today. She's got to try to find some fitness between now and Lenzerheide. She's going to thrill the Swiss crowd at the World Championships. So right now it's a Hannah Öberg story as Gross comes through shooting number 1. She's going to be 125 back.
Batowska Fialkova, bib 34 today. We've already flown through plenty in the early order. First podium since the birth of her first child in Nancy. In the mass start, beating Jean Richard on the line. Her best 4th in this discipline in Pokluka.
Shooting from the left-hand position, the athletes can shoot from either side. The ranges are definitely set up for the advantage of a right-handed shooter, as most of the field is. Lotolino drops that last shot, and it's just so easy to let the 5th shot go. You think you're done, and you've got 4 hits, And now she's got a minute. Just like that. It happens so quickly. Carrara cut through shooting number 2.
Something else exactly, Chad, that happens very quickly as we now start to get the revolving door of the range in the individual competition, with our first athlete coming into shooting 2. And, well, Suvi Minkkinen, what a season she is having. 5th overall, she made history to take the victory in the single mixed relay with Telo Seppälä. The first relay victory in mixed competition for Finland, and it had been such a long wait since their last victory in any discipline for both men and women.
Lena Repic coming in, she's clean. She's a minute ahead of Carrara coming in, but she's got one better shooting at this point. She's one, but still a miss from the prone. Really holding that last one. Often almost an overhold, I would say, but she gets it. Get a pinch. 21 years of age. Just her 42nd World Cup start.
Here's Carolina Norton. Very up and down first trimester. 3 podiums. And but only 1 in individual competition. That was the sprint in Hopfilts, and 2 races, though, outside of the top 50.
We saw an interesting dynamic as her pinch went on her second loop and Norton comes out on her first. A lot of times if you get paired with an athlete like that, just circumstantially coming through your second lap, that fresher athlete can often be a nice ride for you. We call it a ride. Like you get a little bit of a pacing from somebody who's a lap fresher than you. And that's a nice dynamic, especially as you get later in the race.
Jeanmonnot, the red bib, preparing. She's at bib 44. Alina Stromos.
Trailing by 17 coming in as Stremos. And there's a miss for her. 2 misses for the Moldovan. Not seeing a real reason necessarily to change the win graphics not popping up, so it makes you kind of wonder what. Sometimes when you don't know why you're missing, you just make an adjustment just to do something, to adjust. Maybe just to even reset your mind. Here's Anna Magnusson now of Sweden.
Yeah, seemingly helps after those first 2 misses. 3 hits following that. Ida Lean, who is considerably up on Lena Lepinch at this point, but a first miss, and that's 60 seconds immediately added, and that's another minute to her time. No penalty loops, but 60 seconds for each miss. It is truly brutal.
120 seconds already, and Lean she gets the last 3. But this is her weakest point. When you're 65% standing shooter, there's probably something that still needs to work. A lot of times it's psychological, but she may not have the best of standing positions. It may be a challenge for her body to hold the rifle compared to prone. But certainly her shooting score today reflects how she shot historically all season. And this is something she has to do better in to compete in this individual competition.
Yep, another standing stage to go as well, of course. Here's Hannah Öberg.
Way ahead, racing the rest of the field, people who have yet to start. Watching the focus, really great focus. This is the Hannah Öberg as she stops and missed.
But she has the time for it at the minute, but she won't want to waste too much of that with the names who still to start.
The hard part about that miss for Hannah Öberg is it was all mental. Yep. She had a great rhythm going. She had to think about it a little bit, and when she is at her very best and confident, that wouldn't happen. That target would go down. Still a little bit of sign of doubt in her mind. That's what that miss tells us.
49 seconds, her advantage, leaving shooting 2. But that's quickly cut because Charlotte of Germany goes through 1.1 seconds behind her with no misses on the day. She's gone 10 for 10 as Jeanmonnot starts her journey. The red bib winner in the short individual in Kontiolahti, and back to her best after a drop of form at Le Grand Bonnard, showing just how dominant she can be in Oberhof. And here's one of her compatriots who's still in the hunt for her first win. Her first podium as well of the season. And it could be coming. You get the feeling that there's definitely movement in the right direction for Jean Michard. who mentally just comes across as so stable.
Here's Sophia Schneider now back on the World Cup after a little bit of a respite. And the breakout Sharvatova. Hannah Uberg bib 10, 1.1 seconds ahead of Sophia Scherer in just her second World Cup start, as Germany in second spot after 2 shooting stages. Skiing with Uberg now on the course. She started a minute ahead of her, so that's the difference. The shot difference between Uberg and Scherer is that one missed shot, but Sophia Schneider not giving the Germans what they want, but still several Germans to come in the start order, including Franziska Preuss later on in bib number 58.
Yeah, Vanessa Voigt as well, someone who is looking to get back to their best after struggling with illness at Le Grand Bonnard, and then just not seemingly back to her best in time for Oberhof. Julia Simon.
Skis are lined up there. That's all. You see the athletes picking up their skis. There are new rules in the last 3 years with the check on the fluorocarbon waxes. So the athletes have to actually turn their skis in about a half hour before their start time, and they have to stay there until their start so nobody can touch them up. But here's Jean Richard now.
Yep, the blue bib indicating the best under 23 athlete. That changing for this season alongside the start groups. Formerly a under 25 competition and now under 23. And Jean Richard, well, Chad, that first podium, you have to feel it's coming. She's in such good form, performing strongly as well as part of the French relay team, and well, so close to that first podium on home snow in France. Could today be the day?
2 fourth place for Jean Richard. I think this is the kind of event she's going to have to emerge in individual competition. She's fast skier, but not fast enough to win in the sprint. She could win or get on the podium in this event with her great shooting averages. 98, 85% prone, or standing 98 prone, 91 average, as we see Gasbran now with a miss. But she's going to fall further back. She was 50 seconds coming in after into the second shoot, so she'll leave even further back.
Julia Simon, who had a great weekend here in 22-23, winning the individual, or third in the individual, and then went on to win the pursuit as well that weekend. 4 individual podiums in her career. And Lena Haki-Gross bouncing back well from that one-drop shot on the first.
That was nice focus by Haki-Gross there. If she can find that, ride that wave all the way into the finish now, hit 19 for 20, she may find herself moving up through the order. And that often happens. You saw Quinton Fillon-Maillet win in the Olympics in Beijing with that attitude. He had 2 early misses. We didn't talk about him until the very end, and he went clean from that point on and surprised everybody in the individual in the Olympic Games. And that's what happens sometimes. You know, that pressure builds as you go clean. Sometimes having an early miss just kind of cleanses the palate a little bit for the rest of the race.
Lotte Lee has a early miss. She pulls up for her standing shoot, her first of 2, with her compatriot Claudsen's dropping down into the prone position for her first visit to the range.
I love watching lefties. You can really see how the trigger control works. You can see Lotte Lee, that last trigger squeeze, just a little bit of a hitch and a jump on it. It's very subtle, but you can see why it misses if you watch that trigger enough. That's what coaches often do when they're watching their athletes shoot. They just watch the trigger squeeze.
Anna Kalin Heidenberg is 7.3 seconds down coming into the range.
Just her 12th World Cup start. Burst on the scene 2 years ago in the national scene in Sweden, made the World Cup team early in the season by winning an individual competition. This is the event that actually started her emergence to the front of the World Cup.
Clean with her first visit to the range.
That's a solid start. 3 Swedes now on the leaderboard. Uberg, Magnussen, and Heidenberg. Sweden has had a rough start to the year. This is a pretty good turnaround so far in Ruhpolding.
And here is bib 58, Franziska Preuss, looking to get back on track where she lives and trains. Final checks, and she joins the queue. Hannah Dexter.
Clear through the first stage, coming in 52 seconds back into standing. Hannah Oberg still leading despite a missed shot. And there's a miss by Andexter. So still lots of misses in the first two shooting stages, and that has Hannah Oberg still at the top of the order. Andexter, 2 misses.
Yep, as the current leader at shooting 2, Hannah Oberg, her sister Elvira, starting her competition, bib 56. Start winner in Kontiolahti. She was 3rd in the short individual in Kontiolahti as well.
And it's pointing out that Hannah Oberg was 1 second ahead of Scherer for Germany in her second World Cup, but by the 7.9 kilometer mark, she'd stretched that to 24 seconds from just less than 2 kilometers. So Oberg flying compared to Scherer. Not surprising though. Here's Anna Magnusson. She's clean from the prone, currently sitting in the top second spot after prone. There's a miss, just like her teammate Hannah Oberg, and 2 will drop her down the order. So a short-lived stint at the top of the leaderboard for Anna Magnusson. She'll have to go clean from here on out to re-emerge into the top 10 by the finish.
And Franziska Preuss is underway, and you can hear the roars from the crowd.
So much pressure for Preuss. Call it the home crowd curse. And we saw it in La Grande Bornand for the French, flying high in Kontiolahti and Hochfilzen, and then just not quite sparkling as well as they normally do as a team.
Well, just 1 miss so far for Anna-Maria Lampic. Clean in the prone position. 2 misses now. That's an extra 120 seconds added to her race. As here's our leader, Hannah Oberg, with 1 miss next to her name, in for her second and final prone shoot. Just 1 more standing stage to go after this.
You know, we talk about the speed of Lampic. Lampic was actually, with the same shooting, trailing Hannah Oberg at the last shooting stage by 9 seconds. That tells you Hannah Oberg can lose a little time, but she can't miss, and she misses the second one on stage 3.
And then gets tangled as well.
She's coming back from where she's been. The skiing is at least going the right direction. That was my point. Is if you go look back at shooting 2, she's beating Lampic on the skis and shooting range together. Probably losing a little time on the ski course itself, but it's the Hannah Oberg we're used to seeing. That's my point.
So we take a look at the shooting of Stephanie Scherler. Her first miss. This is shooting 3 for the German.
$14 for 15. It's going to do well for her early in the start order here. She's 30 seconds down at shooting number 3.
And well, there's the almost collision. Hannah Oberg just avoiding, I think. There was a palm out from each side, and well, we're not even really at the height of how busy the range could be. Also, you can see in the background of that shot, Jeanmonnot has gone through shooting 1 in second.
Here's Selena Gauthier now, trailing by 20 seconds in the first loop of skiing. Going to make some of that back, possibly with clean shooting, but slips a little bit as she heads out on the course. But looking at the skiing, just again, analyzing the skiing of Hannah Oberg, she is 8 seconds slower on lap 2 of this course compared to Lampic. She makes up a lot of that time on the shooting range. Fastest loop time of the first loop was Hannah Oberg. Lampic was just 5th in that one, but she's probably keeping it a little bit chill coming in to shoot prone.
I saw some jaws drop in the background there, but thankfully Selena Gauthier back to her feet with no trouble. Here's Ella Halvorsen, bib 64 today. She was 2nd in that short individual in Kontiolahti, 4th in the pursuit in Hochfilzen, but she's had no top 10 since, Chad. Really bursting onto the scene on those first couple of races in Kontiolahti.
Yeah, that's kind of the way the early season can be for an emerging athlete like Halvorsen, is that You come in kind of hot. You're in really good shape. Nobody's raced yet. Nobody's tired, and some people still aren't. Some of the veterans still aren't in top form. And Ella Halvorsen has certainly in Kontiolahti took advantage of that situation. She's settled in, still sitting well in the overall standings. She's sitting in 12th in the overall with 2 podiums on the season, but not quite in the form we saw her in Kontiolahti.
Julia Simon dropping down into the prone position. Dorothea Vela starting her race and, well, so successful in this event, but just not in the form that maybe would put her in the position to compete for a podium this weekend. And I would love to be proved wrong on that as Julia Simon goes 5 for 5, coming in 16.8 seconds behind the time of Hannah Öberg.
Yeah, the French Jeanmonnot came in 1.4 seconds back and left the shooting range 10 back of Hannah Öberg after shooting number 1. But remember, Hannah Öberg already has 2 penalties, and Simone is clean 14.8 seconds back. And she can just kind of ease into the race now. She knows that she's within striking distance of the lead at 14 seconds back, and maybe pick up her ski speed just a little bit. Becky Gross now. 9 for 10. Trails by 1:02 coming into the stage. And remember, the leader has 2 penalties. If she can do one better, might contend for that lead. She's got 14 seconds to hit the shot and get out of there.
Yeah, 14 out of 15. That's not bad from Lena Häkkigloss. As Malenka Kaida, who had well, a brilliant weekend in Oberhof, is in for her first shoot. She's taking her time.
Trailing by 15.5 coming in. Shoots maybe a tad quicker. Now she's going to lose a little time, but she's going to stay clean. I think the key here is to know that the Swedish people ahead of you at this point have misses further down the course. Just keep it cool, keep it running. Kirkaida among the leaders. Currently in 11th. 11th, but just 22 seconds back.
And here is the overall points leader, Franziska Preuss, who at 2.3 kilometers is down 3.9 on Elvira Öberg in 3rd.
Started a little slower, 4.8 seconds back at 1.9. Now she's leaning into that time just a little bit. See Deidre Irwin back on the World Cup for the United States after sitting out a World Cup weekend due to illness. There's Anna-Karin Heidenberg now, starts with a miss. Still waiting for that magic clean person through 3 stages. Anna-Karin Heidenberg. 9 for 10. Chasing the time of Klutens from Belgium.
And you can see bib 56, Elvira Öberg, in the small screen.
Just 3.6 advantage coming in over her sister. So Hannah Öberg is skiing well, but Elvira has to shoot better. She's clean through 1.
Strong start, Elvira Öberg.
Pretty fast shooting too, 33.8 seconds. So not giving away any time on any aspect of this event. She trails her sister by 2.1 seconds. But she knows her sister has 2 misses further down.
Well, great to see the stand behind the range packed out. Franziska Preuss, yellow bib, looking to get back on track.
Leading by 0.8 of a second. Fitness is back. She led at no point in any race in Oberhof. Leads coming into Ruhpolding, and she's clean!
That's nice, the crowd love it. Franziska Preuss, a slight stumble as she gets off the mat, but coming in 0.8 of a second in the lead. Where will she cross the time? Well, she's gained a 10th. Franziska Preuss, well, what a story this would be.
I feel like she's a surfer in the ocean just catching a nice wave right now and going to ride that wave as long as she possibly can. Here's Justine Brassard-Boucher now starting behind. And she's just 1.3 seconds ahead of Preuss. So Preuss is skiing well again. She's right back on the form she showed prior to the holiday break.
Still very early stages. Suvi Minkkinen leaves this standing stage with one miss next to her name. Brassard-Boucher.
Taking her time, being very careful with the shots. Almost 4 seconds between them. It's still a miss, though. So now she's got that opposite sort of trajectory. She needs to just keep it clean from here on out. She's got her mistake on the day. Knows that everybody amongst the favorites that have shot more than twice have misses down the line.
Jeanmonnot is in for her first standing shoot, coming in just under 10 seconds behind the time of Hanna Øberg.
She's perfect, 10 for 10. And she's going to take the lead by a solid margin.
Yep.
Hanna Øberg, I believe, has just shot for her fourth time, was on the range. But Jeanmonnot will take the lead at the second shooting spot, 10 for 10.
Now look at this as well, a brilliant race so far from Amy Berserger, who you can see just a flash of the red and white of the Swiss kit going up the climb there. She's comes in very good form, and second at this stage is a very good sign for the Swiss athletes ahead of the World Championships on home snow.
Stephanie Scherer. Nice, solid start to this individual competition. She's missed 1 of 15. Clearly outside of it on the ski speed, so just needs to do it all the work right here. 2 more shots, get 19 for 20. See where that stacks up against the best in the world. Great opportunity for Scherer. She's clean. 19 for 20, not going to take the lead, but it's going to be a huge performance for this athlete who moves herself up at 28 years of age up to the World Cup for just the second time off the IBU Cup. That's good stuff from her.
Really strong stuff. 19 out of 20, her first World Cup race in almost 5 years. Here's Selina Glottien, 1 miss in the standing position. She has 2 more visits to the range to go.
Yeah, not just even with that miss, just not quite skiing at the level she's going to need to contend for the victory. Hanna Øberg leading with 2 penalties after 4 shooting stages over Sophia Scherer with just 1 by 1 minute and 15 seconds. So you can see the difference of level of those top 10 athletes, that Hanna Øberg is clearly competing in the seeded level among the unseeded skiers.
Darcy Morton, the only Australian on the World Cup circuit, in for her first shoot.
Paula Botte behind her in bib 13 on the final stage as well. Botte comes into the shooting stage already a minute 58 back with 3 penalties. Here's Dorothea Vera now. 6 victories in individual competition in her career, the most wins of anybody currently competing in this discipline today. Trailing by 18 seconds coming in. It's not a terrible amount. She's got to be perfect. I didn't see anything noticeable about that second shot. Just she looked solid on the trigger squeeze. I have to say I didn't see anything that gave away that she had a miss there, but just not quite the magic that she's had in previous years.
A miss for Julia Simon.
These misses begging the question, who can come from deeper in the World Cup field to challenge the best athletes in the world and go clean? Simone won't do it today. She's got a miss.
See Anna Maka of Poland and in 7th. Julia Simon falling just outside her time with 1 miss in the standing position.
Well, Anna Maka is a great example of an athlete who might be able to pull it off. But Franziska Preuss is still leading by 3 seconds when Hanna Øberg was still clean. So matched up head-to-head after 1 shooting stage, Preuss is skiing at every step as fast as Hanna Øberg, with Hanna Øberg missing 2 in the subsequent 2 shooting stages. So the opportunity is very clear to Preuss right now what she needs to do. It's just stay clean. It's simple.
Someone who needs to stay clean. Lena Häcki-Gross. Can she go 19 for 20?
Really nice trigger squeezes.
Oh, and she can't. It's 18 out of 20 for Lena Häcki-Gross.
It's so hard. If you haven't figured it out by watching biathlon, it's so hard to hit that last shot when you're 4 for 5. But it makes all the difference in the world. That's how you win these competitions, as opposed to just place or show. Comes in just ahead of Regina Ermitz by 1.2 seconds into 4th spot. Häcki-Gross after 4 shooting stages, 18 for 20. And that one miss lost her 2nd place at this point.
So that's Michaela Kalala, who you can see over the line. The finishing tunnel just behind the range. She's our first athlete of our 100 who started on the day, and well, are still starting as well, we must say. Our first athlete over the line, 46 minutes, 54 seconds, 0.8, the time to beat.
Shooting 3 now. This is Ruhpolding. She's clean so far. Resettles, thinks about it. She's clean. Should take the lead at shooting number 3.
Yep, more than a comfortable time that ticks down there. She'll be just inside 30 seconds. Her advantage, 15 out of 15. A miss for Elvira Öberg. She'll need to limit that to 1.
The miss for Öberg with the clean 2 shooting stages for Teresa Vobornikova, and that's a great example of an athlete who can surprise. Vobornikova has been 5th in her career, but could step that up into a podium finish today.
So Elvira Öberg pushing her sister Hannah down to 6th as she slots in 5th. Lots of work to be done on the out on the course now as Franziska Preuss. 14.7 seconds she leads coming into shooting 2. Her first of 2 standing shoots.
Leading Jeanmonnot, who's clean, 3-3, and there's a miss.
A miss for Franziska Preuss.
Skiing well enough that if she can hold this together, will stay among the leaders to the finish, but she's got to go pretty much clean from here on out to have a chance. She's going to fall 40 to 42, 43 seconds back here. Jeanmonnot on the breakout. 1 miss on the day so far for her. And Preuss slots into 5th.
Michelon leaving shooting 3 in 2nd, 3.8 seconds with 1 miss next to her name.
Here's Suvi Minkkinen. 1 miss on the day. Currently ranked 5th overall in the World Cup. That penalty holding her back at this point. But none of the big names clean through 3, or nobody with a ski pedigree at shooting number 3 to really pull this off. Vobornikova's clean, but she's 3.8 seconds ahead of Océane Michelon. But this could be a new leader. It's going to be tight. Will it be? It looks like it's going to be a new leader. It's going to be Minkkinen.
Suvi Minkkinen, 2.7 seconds with 1 penalty next to her name, her advantage. Jeanmonnot now, the red bib, who's 10 for 10 and 1 minute 22.5 in the lead coming into shooting 3. Going to those around her with penalties next to their names, and Amy Baserga.
So Jeanmonnot, 44, has caught Baserga on the course. Baserga started 3 seconds ahead of her.
Oh.
That doesn't really matter. They're both clean right now. Becerra could be in the podium positions as well, even though she's 30 seconds down. And she gets a great ride off of Jeanmonnot, just 30 seconds back.
Well, let's see how things change at shooting 3. It's Jeanmonnot who is in the lead, but there's nothing between her and Amy Becerra, as you can see.
And they are 1 and 2 in the standings. They're separated just by that 31.6 seconds on the ski course. So Becerra can ride Jeanmonnot all the way to the final shooting stage and to the finish.
Well, Hannah Oberg over the line, and she will temporarily take the lead, but 2 misses next to her name today. And, well, that won't be enough for a podium, but more than enough signs that she's heading in the right direction. Stephanie Scherer over the line in 3rd, 19 out of 20. It's not a bad return by any means to the World Cup circuit.
Great, just her second start, it's great. She's currently in 3rd, 146 back. But Hannah Oberg, 2 penalties on the day, 18 for 20. You're right, probably not enough to win. Likely not enough to be on the podium, but she's going to need to have other people miss as well. Now, it's Ragnhild Femsteinevik coming from bib 81 off the IBU Cup on the Norwegian team, but starts with a miss. I thought she might be somebody who could challenge, that we haven't seen challenge yet this year, but she's going to fall off the time now, over a minute out.
Yep, started quickly but couldn't capitalise on that with 60 seconds added to her race time. She slots in at 39th. Selina Glottian goes 5 for 5. She leaves shooting 3. 14,
just 1 miss on the day.
14 out of 15 for Selina Glottian, the young German, through the time check in 7th. 90 seconds down on the time of the leader.
There's Jean Richard now. She's missed 1 of 10. Already trailing by 45 seconds at this point, coming in by a minute and a half. So, as I said, I felt like this is an opportunity for Jean Richard, but she has to shoot perfectly, and she already has not done that, and losing time now to the faster skiers in the field who also have a miss.
She needs to stay clean from here on in. And well, that's gone some way to aid her challenge. 14 out of 15 for Jean Richard, the blue bib. As Julia Simon drops into the prone position behind her. And 7th, Jean Richard goes.
There's Julia Simon. 14 for 15, or 9 for 10 so far, trying to go 14 for 15.
Oh, she's laser focused, isn't she, Chad?
Really good shooting there. That is great focus, and this is exactly what she needs to get back into this competition. She's going to come in with a penalty less than a minute out, which tells you she's skiing just fine against Blue Jeanmonnot. Skiing almost even with her as Jeanmonnot continues to lead. Simone goes into 4th. 15
athletes cross the line, and here comes Lena Haki-Gross, who is side by side with Aita Gaspalan. And Haki-Gross over the line, 2 penalties next to her name. Just inside 90 seconds behind Hannah Oberg. And Gaspalan goes 6th for now. Well, Anastasia Kuzmina, and well, what a story this is, Chad. Made history in Oberhof, becoming the first woman to score World Cup points after turning 40.
Showing that she's got some of that pedigree that has her gave her 3 Olympic gold medals, but not quite at the speed of the younger athletes on the course, but still. Compelling story. 9 for 10 so far, Kuzmina. Here's Maren Kirkeide now. Has a miss as well from the second shooting stage and is already a minute back before she starts shooting. Comes in trailing by a minute 33. She's chasing Minkinen in 5th. But there's another miss and puts her further down the order. This is not going to be Kirkeide's day.
Always such a challenge as an athlete when you have one of those breakout weekends. As well, another miss there from Maren Kirkeide. Those breakout weekends, how you keep yourself level as you travel down to the next race weekend, of course coming in such quick succession. Brilliant week in Oberhof, and it's always such a challenge to try and back that up.
Here's Jessica Yezlova now. There's a miss in there, and she's 59 back of Hannah Oberg, but she is in 2nd spot, the best of the rest. as her teammate Bib 35 comes in. She's clean through 3 as well.
Taliza Vybornikova. Her personal best finish is 5th in this competition in Oslo, the last individual of the season. And she's looking to go one better here and finish on the podium.
If she can clean, she can do it. 2 shots left for Vybornikova. Could this be her high water mark of her career? And she goes 20 for 20. She's going to throw her hat in the ring.
Incredible. 20 for 20. Vybornikova of Czechia. Never finished higher than 5th. And, well, has a firm grip now on a podium place.
She's still got 3 kilometers to go head-to-head with Hanna Uberg, who has 2 penalties. 6.3 seconds is the gap.
Well, she needs to keep that up as, well, Elvira Uberg loses a pole. She's down in 11th and will be looking, hopefully, towards one of the coaches. There we go. She gets the pole handed over to her, just slipping out of her grasp as she moved away from the range. Here's Franziska Preuss now.
Preuss will have gotten the message that others have misses now. She's got an opportunity, even with that miss, to wrestle control of this race back. The only person that is perfect so far through 3 shooting stages is Jeanmonnot, among the favorites of the field. Oh, that is good stuff. Smooth, quick. That was beautiful biathlon.
Yep, Franziska Preuss. 14 out of 15, Ocean Michelon.
Michelon leading coming into shooting number 4, and she goes clean as well. Has a miss on the day, but she's flying on the skis, and she's going to move past Vybornikova, the clean shooting Czech, by, it's going to be over 10 seconds now. Trying to get her win, her first win.
19 out of 20, Ocean Michelon. Well, this is a great recovery from the Frenchwoman who dropped 1 on the first and has gone clean since. Anna Gandler, who of course saw her partner Emilien Claude take his first podium on the World Cup yesterday.
Maybe feeling a little bit of inspiration from Emilien. Can she go 15 for 15?
She
dropped that last shot.
Suvi Minkkinen now in the breakout, who is of course herself riding a really strong wave of form.
Minkkinen comes into the final stage, 4.4 seconds out of the lead, and she goes clean on the final stage. Race between Minkkinen now and Michelon.
Suvi Minkkinen in such good form, and will drop in behind Ocean Michelon at the exit of shooting 4, but by 4.8 seconds. Here's Jeanmonnot now. Wow, what an advantage this is that she holds coming into the final shoot, and she is flying, and she's 20 for 20. Jeanmonnot, a commanding lead coming out of shooting 4, and it's her race to lose now.
Becerga has been skiing the whole race with her. She's trying to hang with her and go clean as well. Can Becerga do it? She does it as well. 20 for 20, both skiers. 44 and 43 together, skiing most of the race. Both hit 20 for 20. Now where will Becerga line up behind Jeanmonnot? I think she'll be second. Waiting for time. Becerga moves into second spot.
Yep, she will indeed. Wow, what a day for the Swiss athlete who is flying. And the signs were there in Oberhof. And this is such an incredibly strong performance.
Trying to see where Preuss is comparatively to Jeanmonnot. After shooting 3, Preuss is still out on the 4th loop, but she left the range 36.9 seconds back on Jeanmonnot, so skiing better with a penalty. But she's got to go perfectly to have a chance to win still. And she's got to also take time on the course. Here's Gauthier now on her final shooting stage.
Yep, she's got 1 miss to her name in the standing position already. Comes in 1 minute 34 down.
Really 6th coming into the shooting range.
Oh, there's another miss.
just not a very stable hold. You can see the fatigue in her hold on the target. Rifle was a little bit soft and loose off of her elbow. Here's Susanne Kulm, who's perfect up till this point. She starts with a miss, trying to get her high water mark today. Still might be a very good top 10 performance if she can hit this last shot. 19 for 20 for Kulm. Not going to move amongst the leaders, though. Chasing the time of Yuzlova in 7th.
Well, Vanessa Voigt, 1 miss from her first visit. This is shooting 3 for her.
Already 2+ minutes back, though. The ski form just not there for Voigt as she tries to find her way, her legs on solid ground after the break she took from illness.
Yeah, failed to qualify for the pursuit in Oberhof. And 2 misses next to her name. There's Jean Richard. And 18 out of 20 for Jean Richard.
No, 2 misses it's just not good enough for Jean Richard. She needs to go perfect whenever she doesn't have the ski speed to challenge. Here is Julia Simone now. Did 50.
Yeah, you look at where Jean Richard is slotted in 8th. There's another miss for Julia Simone. That's 3 misses now on the day. So her race is over.
Yeah, she's 118 trailing, and she has 2 more misses, and she's going to be outside probably the top 20, if not further back by the end of the day with those 3 penalties.
Well, you just look at the intermediate splits when leaving shooting for Jeanmonnot, leading by 46 seconds over Amy Baserga. Oceane Michelon is in 3rd, 1 miss next to her name. Suvi Minkkinen, another very good day in the office. She's in 4th, and Teresa Verbornikova, who shot clean on the day, has now been pushed down to her high water mark of 5th. And well, Chad, it just shows you need to be perfect and you need to be quick.
Yeah, Minkkinen and Michelon are skiing off their penalty. They're in 3rd and 4th, and they're separated by 4 seconds for that 3rd spot. It'll be interesting to see who comes down the stretch. But I'm looking further back, and really Preuss is the one that stands out as the one person left that can challenge with people in the top 3. And she's got a miss already. She has no wiggle room as she comes to the final shooting stage.
Yep, she's
here's Yuzlova.
That's 11.1 kilometers time. Siska Preuss as Zeska Islova. 19 for 20 on the day, over the line in 2nd for now. 1 minute 15 down on the time of Hannah Urberg, who, when you look back at Urberg's time, leaving shooting 4, she's now dropped down to 6th at that intermediate split with 51 of the 102 over the line there.
Franziska Preuss did 58, making her way to the final shooting stage, trying to give this German crowd something to cheer about. She's got a miss in the 2nd stage so far, otherwise perfect. 14 for 15, but it's going to be a race between her and Amy Baserga. She's leading Baserga by 8 seconds at this point, but she's got to be perfect. She's got 1 more shooting stage. Baserga is a perfect 20 for 20 on the day and on her way to the finish. Yep,
here's someone who's approaching the finish line, a perfect 20 as well. Teresa Verbornikova, a great day for her. She would have wanted a podium. She's 2nd for now, 8.9 seconds behind the time of Hannah Urberg. She was perfect in the rain. She doesn't quite have the ski speed to really make and challenge for the podium today, but she'll be hoping she's done enough to at least equal her best from Oslo in the individual competition at the end of last season. Here's Elvira Urberg.
I thought that Urberg could sustain a couple misses and still be on the podium, and I'm close to right. She's just going to be a few seconds back. Minkkinen is Minkkinen in 4th. And they have to worry a little bit now with 3 kilometers left as Elvira Urberg is within striking distance of the podium. She's going to leave the range outside the top 5. She's going to be in 7th, but she's got only 22 seconds to get to the podium right now. Michelon.
Yep, Oceane Michelon over the line in 1st. 26.8 seconds in the lead. She's never finished on a World Cup podium. And, well, is today the day? Her high water mark is 4th in the pursuit in Oberhof. She's in great form.
Here's Preuss now. Michelon trying to hang on to a first podium finish. Preuss trying to challenge Becerra for the podium spots. She needs this hit, and she gets it.
Franziska Preuss, 19 out of 20. Keep your eyes on the time. She will slot into second place for now, 35.9 seconds, leaving shooting 4 behind Jeanmonnot.
A performance absolutely worthy of the yellow bib today by Franziska Preuss, with a miss, trailing Jeanmonnot by 35 seconds with 3 kilometers left. Here's Suvi Minkinen now, fighting for every second, trying to stay relevant and on the podium.
Yeah, well, she'll certainly do that, that's for sure. Will it be enough for a podium? It's looking quite unlikely at this stage, but it surely will be another flower ceremony for Suvi Minkinen and another really strong performance. She crosses the line in second.
Becerra is going to be the spoiler for Minkinen.
Yep, and Jeanmonnot, well, she is back to her very best after stumbling on home snow in Annecy-le-Grand-Bernard. She has come to Germany and she has shown why she is the one to watch as she almost takes a tumble over the line. 1 minute 17.3 she leads. A huge performance for Jeanmonnot, looking for her 4th win of the season.
And right behind her,
well, that is an excellent performance from the Swiss woman.
Actually made 5 seconds on Jeanmonnot in the last 2 kilometers. So Becerra with a great performance today. High water mark for her.
9th in Canmore in the mass start at the end of last season. So a new personal best today, that's for certain. And well, Jeanmonnot, the red bib, has given it absolutely everything. And it will.
The Swiss team just keeps coming back with some great performances as the World Championships loom in Lenzerheide in early February. Becerra, perfect on the day, second to Jeanmonnot. Only person left to watch now is Preuss out on the final 3 kilometer lap. Stephanie Scherer without even a picture on the IBU website. Taking 11th spot today, you gotta love that.
Yep, first time, first World Cup race in 5 years, just her 2nd race. Here's Selina Glossian, who is looking to slot in just ahead of her, but it won't be enough today for Selina Glossian to be the best placed German at this stage. Of course, Franziska Preuss is going around the course, currently on course for a 2nd place finish. With Selina Glossian in 12th, just behind her compatriot.
Well, now we're going to see what Preuss has on the skis as she is unfettered by the shooting. She's 19 for 20 and trailing by 35.9 seconds at the exit of the shooting range. What will she be at this 13.9 kilometer time check? Yeah,
we've got some time before we see her hit that point. Of Estonia, 19 for 20, not a bad day in the office at all, over the line in 7th, and yeah, a very strong day for her, and that surely will be another big personal best as well. She has an 18th in this event at the start of last season in Östersund. Ella Halvorsen. 19 out of 20, that's not bad from the Swede. As we cut quickly back to Jean Richard, the blue bib, 18 out of 20, and you can always see on her face as she comes towards the finish line, she gives it absolutely everything. Trying to grasp every second, every advantage that she can, and that's 8th today for Jean Richard, who continues to be consistently in the top 10.
A solid performance by the French. Here's Julia Simone. 3 misses on the day. She's going to be perhaps
outside the top 10.
3:18 back. See where that ends her day. She's going to be ahead of Justine Brassard-Boucher, who has 4 misses on the day, down in 28th after shooting 4. So another shake-up at the top of the order with Becerra and Michelin on the podium now, Minkinen in 4th. Hanna Öberg still sitting in 5th for Sweden.
So here we go.
Preuss.
This is the 13.9 kilometre mark. Leaving shooting for Franziska Preuss was 35.9 seconds behind the time of Jeanmonnot, whose race has concluded. And well, the gap has grown to 37 seconds.
But making time on Baserga, that's the key for second place. But Preuss never looks like she's actually really flying. Here's Johanna Scott time now. Not skiing particularly quickly, but she goes 15 for 15 from bib 84. Let's keep an eye on her. She's been on the podium before in an individual as a third place from Kontiolahti 3 years ago.
Yeah, this is someone that you highlighted, Chad, as someone to watch from the later bib. She's, of course, there wearing bib 84, and she goes into second for now. 27.5 seconds behind Jeanmonnot, with one more shooting stage to go for the Swede.
Imagine coming in as the top Swede from bib 84 in the unseeded group. That'd be a big coup for Skottheim. She's done it before, but it's been a few years. I was just going to say, watching Preuss out on the course, she's losing a couple seconds to Jeanmonnot on this last loop, but she never looks like she's really flying on skis. Very calm, powerful skier, not a tempo skier. Just applies a lot of good pressure to the snows. We see Kierkegaard come in 20th spot, 357 back with 3 misses on the day.
Here's Elvira Urberg, and the time of Ocean Michelon will slip away. Susie Minkkinen currently occupying 4th place, and that will be taken as Elvira Urberg over the line in 4th. 2 misses on the day, 90 seconds down on Jeanmonnot.
But it shows you just the kind of form she has. She can go from 10th at the shooting to 4th at the finish. Just marching through the finishing order up to just the wooden medal spot, 13 seconds from the podium when all is said and done. Here's Preuss now.
Yep.
Not going to get the time of Jeanmonnot.
Nope, that will more than slip away. Jeanmonnot, such a dominant performance today, and showing that she's really back to her best. But well, this will bring plenty of delight to the German crowd. Plenty who will have travelled down after being present in Oberhof last week, where they would have wanted so much based on what they saw in the build-up to the Christmas break from the German team. But they will have their podium today, and it will be a second place finish for Franziska Preuss. 19 out of 20. Her final pushes towards the line, the German flags flying high, and Franziska Preuss over the line, 35.7 seconds behind Jeanmonnot. And well, you can confidently say, Chad, that's more than what we're used to seeing from Franziska Preuss, and exactly what we were missing in Oberhof.
Absolutely. I mean, Jeanmonnot demanded perfection from the rest of the field to beat her, and Preuss almost did it. 19 for 20. It's not perfect, but it's close. Skiing back to where we would want to see it. She certainly would have won with clean shooting today by about 25 seconds. So Preuss back on form at home in Ruhpolding in second. The crowd loves her.
On home snow as well. She lives and trains here in Ruhpolding. And, well, if there was ever going to be anywhere where she got back to the form that we've seen her be so consistent with before Christmas, it was always going to be here. As here's Anna Gandler, bib 59. And just ahead of her is Justine Bressard-Boucher. But our focus on the time of Anna Gandler, who is now over the line with 1 miss on the day, 19 out of 20, a great shooting day. 1 minute 27.2 behind the time of Jeanmonnot. That's 5th for Anna Gandler. Justine Bressard-Boucher, 23rd today, 4 misses and 3:56 behind the time, almost 4 minutes behind Jeanmonnot, her compatriot. And well, that's a disappointing day for the Frenchwoman. As we take a look at the updated intermediate results with Jeanmonnot course, still leading the way. 35.7 seconds is her advantage. We have 61 athletes over the finish line. It was a really good day for Teresa Pobornikova, but not enough to see her surpass her best result of 5th in this event. Here's Ella Halvorsen.
2 more athletes to follow to the finish here. This is Halvorsen. She's done shooting. She hit 19 for 20. Not going to be on the podium, but challenging Hannah Oberg for the 8th spot and is inside 10 seconds of her.
Yeah, well, we potentially seeing signs that Ella Halvorsen is back in good form. She was 2nd in the short individual in Kontiolahti, 4th in the pursuit in Hochfilzen, but hadn't had any top 10 finishes in the 2 stops on the World Cup since then. And well, she's on course to have that today. Here's her compatriot, Joanna Scotty.
I'm still she's not skiing at a pace that will get her on the podium, even with the clean shooting right now. She's got to stay clean and try to pick up the pace just a bit. 53 seconds back and 4th.
Yep, of course, one more visit to the range to go for her.
It's a different dynamic being at the back of the field once the stars have already gone through and finished, so it's a little bit of a disadvantage for Skotheim just on the excitement of the shooting range, the demeanor of the crowd. It's Elisa Gasparango's 19 for 20, trailing by just roughly 220 plus.
Yeah, she'll be just outside, will it be? Yeah, just outside of the top 10, and well, how the Swiss would love to get 2 athletes on the top 10 like they did yesterday.
Here's Halvorsen now. Won't be a podium finish, trying to get ahead of Minkinen, but falls outside of that time, just in front of Hannah Oberg. Into 8th.
A solid performance that should see her back into the top 10 for the first time since the races in Hochfilzen and the pursuit there.
This is 67 from Canada. Emma Lunder. Lunder's currently with 19 for 20. She's in 12th at the last time check at 13.9K. Trying to move inside the top 15 for the first time this season. Lunder's best performance so far this season is a 38th in Oberhof in the sprint. So this is quite a bit better. Personal best on her career is 4th, just off the podium in Kontiolahti.
Huge jump up. She goes over the line in 12th.
It's a good race for Lunder. Could be her second, at least in her top 5 of all time.
Not as much a good day in the office for Dorothea Vela. So experienced, so well decorated, and will waste no time in going to have a rifle removed from her back. Vanessa Voigt, 57th again, just still lacking the form on the skis, and 3 misses in the range. We know she's having to work really hard to overcome the illness that spread around the German camp in Annecy just before Christmas.
Skotheim coming in. She's clean so far on the day. Has to stay clean. Clearly losing time on the skis, so just trying to keep it together here on the shooting range. This is going to be the difference between the top 10 or not, whether she goes clean here. Very quick for the first shot, 11.9 seconds. Not wasting any time. Absolutely on autopilot. This is great stuff from Skotheim. She's clean. 20 for 20.
Wow, wow, wow.
Don't see that breaking the podium, but still great performance by her nonetheless. Where will she come across the time check? Enter the range in 4th.
Watching Emma Lunder, who's the second of the 2 athletes over the line there. 12th today for her. Very strong performance from the Canadian.
That's a really nice step forward and a vote of confidence in her ski form and her shooting ability going into the World Championships in just under a month. it's going to be North America's top finish, I believe, in the women's competition. If it holds, Deidre Irwin was 15th in the opening individual. Irwin across the line here today for Team USA, currently sitting in 39th with 3 misses on the day. But that's a good one from Lunder.
So now with 69 athletes over the line, these are the intermediate results, and well, not much has changed at all in the top order from the last time we checked in. The only person that is still out and really able to disrupt it is Johanna Skottheim, who went clean 20 out of 20 through shooting 4. She currently sat in 4th. And well, a flower ceremony would be a very, very strong performance from her today.
The hierarchy of biathlon is very tentative. It's not constant. You still have world number 1 and number 2 in first and second spot, only flipped. Preuss in second, Jeanmonnot in third. We see Polina Klemenčič come across the line in the top 20. It's a good performance for her. But then you see Amy Baserga in the bronze medal spot. And Baserga with a PR today in 3rd.
Yep. A huge step up for Amy Baserga. And here's her teammate, Elisa Gaspalan. Who's being roared on. You can hear her name being shouted by the Swiss coach on the sidelines as they come towards 13.9 kilometers. And she will be outside the top 10 still.
4 tenths ahead of Emma Lunder, so trying to get 12 spots, just tenths of seconds. One of 3 sisters from the biathlon family, Gasparin family. The eldest sister retired several years ago after the 2022 Olympics. Aita, the youngest of the 3 sisters. And they've got to feel good about hosting the World Championships in Lenzerheide for the first time and see the Swiss team do so well. They see Amy Baserga on the podium today and Niklas Hartweg with a great performance yesterday in the men's individual competition. You get a good look at that big climb in Ruhpolding. The camera does these climbs very little justice. You need a telephoto shot like that to see just how difficult this course is. Here's Skottheim now. Still challenging for the top 10.
Yeah, more than challenging for the top 10. Challenging, you'd imagine, for the it's going to be tight for the podium, isn't it? Despite clean shooting on the day, really excellent performance in the range for Skottheim, who, of course, performs so well in these events. Her personal best is from the individual in Kontiolahti back in the 2020-21 season. That was her only, still remains her only podium on the World Cup. And let's take a look at where she comes past the 13.9 mark, because she, it looks certainly like she's up the pace.
She looks good, and she's only trailing Amy Baserga for a third spot by 8 seconds leaving the shooting range. And 3 kilometers is a lot of skiing. There's a lot of time to make up in 3 kilometers. And if she can find more speed than Baserga, she'll find herself on the podium. But Baserga skied very well compared to Preuss and Jeanmonnot in that last kilometer. There's the time of Preuss, plus 37.8. That's the second. Don't think she'll get Preuss at 13.9. Oh, she's fighting hard, though.
Yeah, you can tell it's taking its toll as she looks to the side and sees the crowd.
And the shot has picked her up pretty early to the time check. She's got to get to the time check at the top of this hill still. So Baserga's time is going to come and go for Skottheim.
But it's then Ocean Michelon who is in the currently in the 4th place as we cut away to see the finish of Elisa Gaspalan. 19 out of 20 on the day. She's over the line in 12th. So the Swiss team won't have 2 athletes in the top 10, but they'll be very, very happy with the performance of their 2 highest athletes, highest finishers today.
Here's Raniel Femstanovic coming up from the IBU Cup for the first time this season on the World Cup. That slots in the 16th spot. It's not a bad debut on the World Cup this season for Femstanovic. Puts her in the... She's actually the top Norwegian on the day in 16th. And Arncliffe down in 26th at the finish line right now. And Maren Kierkegaard in 32nd. Caroline Norton in 33rd. So certainly not the results the Norwegians are used to. Here's Skottheim now. Coming up to the 14.3 kilometer mark. She'll have 0.6 of a kilometer to go from here. You can see that mark halfway up that hill. And now she's fighting to stay ahead of Océane Michelin at 1:17 back. And she may lose fourth on this last lap of skiing.
Yeah, just 2 seconds through the 14.1 that we don't see, but there's just 2 seconds separating Skottheim and Michelin at that point at 14.3. She goes into fifth.
And now she's only got a 4-second gap to Gondler in sixth. So Skottheim has to fight for the flower ceremony now.
Yeah, and she'll need every part of the encouragement that she can get from the coaches as she tucks in.
Still a great performance coming off the bench of Sweden, really coming off the IBU Cup and challenging for a podium today. And she is likely going to be the top Swede on the day.
Yep, so far that position held by Elvira Öberg, Ella Halvorsen. I know I was right the first time. It is Elvira Öberg who's he's in sixth, and then it's Ella Halvorsen and Hannah Öberg who are in 8th and 9th.
Off of 19 for 20, really the last threat to the podium is gone as fourth place Michelin time come up from France at 1:17 back. Skottheim not going to get there in time to move into the fourth position, but trying to hold off Gauntler in fifth.
Yeah, working incredibly hard. Johanna Skottheim. 20 out of 20 for Skottheim today, and she's over the line ahead of the time of Anna Gandler, and it's fifth and a flower ceremony for Johanna Skottheim.
It's got to feel good when you get the nod and you best your teammates on the day. So, and adding some diversity to that flower ceremony. Lou Jeanmonnot and Francisca Preuss, they're used to that. But Paserga, Michelin, Skottheim, and Gandler all in the flower ceremony for the first time this season.
Yeah, Anna Gandler finished last season so strongly, didn't she? Particularly in Canmore, but the week before in Soldier Hollow as well. Really strong end to the season, but hadn't quite replicated that. But a equal second best finish for Anna Gandler.
Galina Wisniewskaja Sheparenko. She's gone 14 for 15. Nice shooting performance by the Kazakhstan athlete. She's going to fall outside the top 70 though. We had 102 bibs on the day, but 2 DNSs. Charlotte Rousseau now from Canada started with 3 misses on the day. It's a rough start in an individual, but the World University Games champion in biathlon from 3 years prior in Lake Placid, New York. Now cutting your teeth on the World Cup. nice professional performance by Rousseau.
Clean in the standing position, 10 for 10.
As I said, in the men's race, the shooting standing is further than the other competitions on the repertoire. She's at 12 kilometers shooting. It's a lot of work to hold a rifle with that much exercise up to that point.
Final starter on the day, of course, as you rightly said, Chad, 2 DNSs.
Olga Poltoranina from Kazakhstan. She's been on the circuit for years. Poltoranina. 37 years of age. Finishing up her 99th World Cup. For Wayne Gretzky start to her career over a decade on and off the World Cup circuit. Poltoranina comes across the line into the top 65th spot for Olga Poltoranina with 1 miss on the day. And for 97 now, one of the final competitors on the course, Esther Volfa.
You can hear the chants of USA, USA for Chloe Levins, who has just gone through the picture. Focus though on Volfa of Latvia. And Volfa through 13.9 kilometers in 55th.
Just in her 3rd World Cup start of her career. 19 years of age, still a junior, so this is great stuff for these young 19-year-old athletes who will compete at the World Junior Championships. And even though she's quite a ways down the order here, this would be probably a fairly formidable competition at the Junior World Championship level for a 19-year-old. Being the top 55 of the World Cup. Still has about a kilometer to go. A little less than a kilometer at this point. So Chloe Levins climbing the hill just ahead of her now.
Chloe Levins joining up with the USA team in Oberhof.
4 competitors for the U.S. on the start order. Grace Castellan started in bid 89, Mark G. Fried in bid 91, and Chloe Levins in bid 92. Dieter Erwin, we already sighted at the finish line. Right now, Margie Fried in 83rd for the United States, Grace Castellan in 87th, and Dieter Erwin in 45th right now.
Bei den Moldawierinnen kennen wir jetzt nicht so. Gilenko, auf 2 Julia Simon, die Französin, auf 3 Lisa Theresa Hauser, Österreich.
Much improved conditions today here in Ruhpolding. So final athletes make their way around the circuit.
That was pretty pleasant weather in the Central European valleys of the Alps. Comparatively to Scandinavia this time of year, where the temperatures are minus double digits, if not under minus 20 on the cold points of the day. It's nice to be in Central Europe where the temperatures are right around freezing as they have been today. And the course holding up quite well. Still always a little bit of a disadvantage starting late in the order as the track gets chewed up a little bit. 103 skiers skiing around a track 5 times. Ooh, ooh. Put some marks in the snow. Here's Volfa now trying to get inside the top 50. Chasing the time of Dorothea Veer.
Yeah, it'll be just outside the top 50 today. As you see the times of Ida Lee and Heidenberg go past, it will be 54th, so making up enough time to jump up one position in the closing stages of the race for the Latvian.
We've seen some other juniors on the World Cup with some success already. Julia Tannheimer from Germany being in the flower ceremony. She's 19 years of age. She'll feature at that Junior World Championships, I believe, later in the season. And
Tannheimer, just to jump in there, Chad, someone we're expecting to start today. We're expecting to see a bib 20, but DNS today. And she is, of course, the reigning individual junior world champion. But the 19-year-old, as you say rightly, with 2 flower ceremonies to her name this season, not coming out to race today.
The Junior World Championships happening later in Altenburg, Germany. Well, excuse me, the World Championships, the European Championships in late February, early March in Östersund, Sweden. And normal stop on the World Cup, the juniors will get a chance to test themselves against the best 20 and under athletes in the world in biathlon, and we'll probably see the young Latvian do quite well there.
That's Kamencic, bib 99, who we're watching now through that last checkpoint in 94. This is the retirement of bib 101, Beletskaya of Kazakhstan, retiring after shooting 3. That's where she decided to stop her race and call it a day.
Three athletes all coming to the finish line together at the tail end of this competition. Bib 95, it's Jeanmonnot.
So 98 over the line.
Got bib 99 there, that is Zina Klemencic of Slovenia. And bib 96 is Hanna-Britta Kosic of Estonia. 15th World Cup finish for her in the black and white suit.
And well, there is the Swiss team celebrating a new best for Amy Beserga and her first World Cup podium. Clean shooting on the day, 20 out of 20. And there's a great video already of Helena Haki-Gross rushing over to be the first to congratulate her.
Yeah, 3 Swiss athletes in the top 20, or top 30, excuse me. We see Shiloh Rousseau wrap things up here in Ruhpolding, coming across the line into 89th spot for Canada.
And that concludes our first full-length individual competition for the women of the season. And well, another dramatic day, Chad, full of twists and turns. But Jeanmonnot, the red bib, followed over the line by Franziska Preuss. 1 miss on the day. Preuss back to her best. Jeanmonnot, well, she's proving that she's confidently and comfortably bouncing back from the disappointment of the final race before the Christmas break. And well, a brilliant finish, and well, in what time as well. Perfect for Amy Beserga ahead of the World Championships, which are just on the horizon on home snow in Lenzerheide. We have another Swiss athlete in Elisa Gasparin finishing in 13th, and Lena Haki-Gross as well in 18th. And well, we saw it on the men's side as well, Chad. Things are looking up for the Swiss team.
Yeah, great day for them. Amy Baserga has just got to be thrilled, and it's going to create a lot of buzz going into the World Championships. And Lunza had coming in with a podium finish today for her. Not a real big surprise atop the leaderboard. Jeanmonnot with her typical steely performance on the shooting range. Franziska Preuss with nearly perfect shooting as well, and slightly faster skiing, but finishing second. They're number 1 and 2 in the overall World Cup standings, only flipped, so that's not a surprise. But Baserga in third, Jeanmonnot in fourth, Johanna Skottheim in fifth, and Anna Gantler in sixth. Well, I wouldn't have picked them out of a hat necessarily. They're all not terribly surprising, but kind of a sign that this individual competition is an opportunity for athletes like that to have a shining moment.
Yep, certainly. And those who we did pick before, Elvira Erberg, she finishes just off the flower ceremony in seventh, 2 misses, but once again demonstrating well, just how strong she is on the skis. Another really impressive skiing performance. Suvi Minkkinen in 8th. She continues a brilliant run of race finishes in the top 10, despite not being able to make it into the flower ceremony today. Ella Halvorsen, her first top 10 finish since Hopfilzen. She crosses the line in 9th. And Hannah Erberg, well, not back on the podium, but Chad, she's taking more than enough steps in the right direction. She rounds out the top 10 with 2 misses on the day.
Absolutely, for Hannah Erberg, it's not a fairy tale finish, but it's a step in the right direction, as you said. She's 18 for 20, which is not horrible. She's 144 back with 2 misses. It tells you clean she wins, tells you she's skiing relatively evenly with Jeanmonnot and just off the pace of Franziska Preuss. So watch for the Swedes. They've been a little bit disappointing, I think, if you're a Swedish fan up until now. But they're starting to show signs as you see the Swedish fans. They know their team. They know what they're doing. They are marching time to the World Championships in Lenzerheide where they want to shine. And right now, I have to say they're looking pretty good. That there's probably a good plan in place.
Yeah, 4 in the top 10. It's an excellent sign. As we take a look at the World Cup total score, Suvi Minkkinen in 4th, Elvira Erberg 3rd, Jeanmonnot now just 101 points between her and Franziska Preuss, who stands atop the table. Chad, well, that's a brilliant battle that will rage on between those two.
Yeah, it's 90 points for a win, so anytime you're within 100, and anything can happen. Somebody misses it, doesn't finish inside the top 40 with a bad day. We saw Johannes Tingesbø yesterday at 85th. It can happen. So right now, Preuss still well in control of the lead, but just a couple races could change that, and it means the women's race for the overall World Cup standing last year was a phenomenal battle all the way to the end. And I see that sort of shaping up again this year with Elvira Erberg, Jeanmonnot, and Franziska Preuss all in the mix.
Yeah, Elvira Erberg back in 3rd with 481 points. Suvi Minkkinen has jumped 1 place up into 4th. Just another brilliant sign about the consistency of the Finnish athlete this season. Ossian Michelon now reclaims the blue bib, Chad, the under-23 athlete. Taking it off the shoulders of Jean Richard. She did hold it earlier on in the season. Jean Richard dropping down to 8th with Ossian Michelon jumping 3 places up to 6th.
Yeah, Jean Richard not even with a horrible race today in 15th. I think that battle for the blue bib is going to be a good battle between those two French athletes going back and forth. But Michelon nearly getting the podium today, finishing in 4th, and that's the second 4th for her this season.
Yeah, just looking in the top 25, we have 7 athletes who are under 23. So, in comparison with the battle for the blue bib for the men, we could see it change hands on plenty more occasions before we reach the end of the season in Oslo.
Getting some good shots of the skiing of Amy Baserga. We didn't get to see much of her because she was basically getting a ride off of the winner, Jeanmonnot, and that was really probably a big part of Baserga's success today. She shot perfectly, of course, but she also got a really good ride off the 32nd woman, Jeanmonnot, who started just 30 seconds back in big 44. And that dynamic, we talked about that at the start of the show, can matter, and it did matter today for Amy Baserga. Just able to keep the pace of the leaders on the skis by following the step of Jeanmonnot. And then breaking in between them was this woman right here, Franziska Preuss, all by herself, back in bid 58, had all the information she needed, a single miss in the second shooting stage, but she came back with 10 for 10 from the last two stages and nearly gets the win, 35 seconds back, but announces that her fitness is back to where it needs to be to hang on to that little bit. And then Jeanmonnot. She's just, what can you say? She is just misconsistency. She's not the fastest skier, but she's close. She's not necessarily the best or fastest or most flamboyant shooter. But look, that is the shot. I love the look of her eye while in that slow motion shot. And you can see the focus. And if you watch a lot of biathlon like I do, that's a rarity to have somebody go 20 shots looking like that with that level of focus. And that is the key to Jeanmonnot's success. She's a mental giant.
Yeah, when she switches the focus on, she is on. And, well, just to hark back to what Suvi Minkkinen said after her single mixed relay as we get the opportunity to hear from our winner.
Yes, even now with special bib that I've never been able to manage before, I'm really proud of myself today.
How can you rate your performance today, and what can you tell about the conditions of the shooting range? It seemed to be so good, but was it like this?
I've done some click at first front shooting because I thought that the wind might be backing shoot, but finally not. So just my first shooting was a bit slower, even slower than usual. But in the overall, everything was really easy.
Are you happy and satisfied with your today's result and another win adding to your career?
Yeah, for sure. Really happy.
Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Well, quite a reserved Jeanmonnot there, who said, Chad, sort of more notably in that interview, that well, she took a couple of clicks when she came into the range for the first time because she felt that something had changed with the wind from zeroing, and well, she definitely made the right choice.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, the shooting range in Ruhpolding is very subtle, and I think what she saw was when the wind graphic comes up, it tells us that the wind is strong enough to move the bullet out of the prone target. We see the women's individual score, and Jeanmonnot take control of that fight. But clearly a smart decision on her part. It's not a terribly tricky range, but when you see that happen, you have to have the confidence to make those changes, and it worked for her in the prone position.
It did indeed. So another victory for Jeanmonnot, adding to her very nice tally for the season now. Taking victory in the short individual in Kontiolahti, in the pursuit in Hopfilzen, and in the pursuit in Oberhof as well prior to today.
Not a lot of individual competitions over the course of the season. She leads now by 55 points over Franziska Preuss in the individual to hang on to that red bib for the discipline, and really just the World Championships don't count in the scoring, so just one more individual competition this year, and she can seal up that globe.
Out of 20. Can you call it a perfect competition for you today?
Yes, even more with this special bib that I've never been able to manage before. I'm really proud of myself today.
How can you rate your performance today, and what can you tell about the conditions at the shooting range? It seemed to be so good, but was it like this?
I've done some click at the first prone shooting because I thought that the wind might be impacting the shoots, but finally not. So just my first shooting was a bit slower, even slower than usual, but in the overall everything was really easy.
Are you happy and satisfied with your today's result and another win adding to your career?
Yeah, for sure. Really happy.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Well, great to hear that again, Chad, and this time we can hear a bit more clearly as we prepare for the flower ceremony.
Jeanmonnot goes to 8 wins today. She seems to be stacking up like cordwood. But certainly one of the best shooting stage athletes and best mental shooters on the circuit. You can tell that she can handle the pressure, and that's the difference in the sport. That's what makes you a great champion.
Bekannt unter Henkel, ohne Titel. Third place, dritter Platz, Amy Baserga, Swiss.
A first podium for Amy Baserga, who has smashed her personal best today. A brilliant performance, and one that you feel has come in a very good time indeed, ahead of the World Championships on home snow in February.
Yeah, so hard to have this performance at a World Championships. It's very unlikely to have this kind of performance at a World Championships, at your home World Championships. So this is a nice check off the box for Amy Baserga, just 25 years of age.
Second place, zweiter Platz, Germany, Franziska Preuss.
And Franziska Preuss, the first individual podium here in Germany this season. It wasn't until the single mixed relay that the Germans found themselves on the podium last week in Oberhof. And, well, Franziska Preuss pleasing the home crowd on her home circuit as well, living and training here in Ruhpolding. And if she was going to get back into form anywhere, well, you did feel it was going to be here.
Yeah, really great. She gets her awards from Andrea Henkel-Burke, the Olympic champion from originating from Oberhof, big star in Germany, back in Germany, giving up the prize. But this woman is emerging as one of the greats. Jeanmonnot, another victory.
Yep, another victory this season for Jeanmonnot as she closes the gap on Franziska Preuss in the overall points competition. She will have her sights firmly set on snatching that yellow bib off the back of the woman to her right. But she also dominates, as Chad has rightly said, the individual competition, with there being so few individual races over the course of the season. She's put herself in the pole position to take that discipline globe come the end of the season and our final races in Oslo.
And really a day of relief for Franziska Preuss. After the performance in Oberhof, you have to believe that the training load was maybe a little high. Now she gets on the podium again, and that'll settle everybody down in her camp just a little bit.
And a hug between Jeanmonnot and Ocean Michelon for today. Equal best performance. So taking fourth in the pursuits in Oberhof, she continues to set very high standards for herself, and she'll take the blue bib as well.
Gone for Austria in the sixth and final flower ceremony spot in her third of her career, and following on the footsteps of her boyfriend, taking the silver medal yesterday.
Joanna Snuffstime, clean shooting, one of only three athletes in the top 10 to shoot clean. As it's a selfie, Jeanmonnot shares with the crowd behind her, and Franziska Preuss and Amy Baserga.
Sixth place, sechster Platz, Anna Gandler. Fifth place, Johanna Scottheim. Fourth place, Michel France. Third place, Amy Baserga.
As Jeanmonnot needs to watch where she steps there. A wave to the crowd. A very good day in the office. Really strong performance for Jeanmonnot, who takes the victory by 34.7 seconds from Franziska Preuss, with Amy Baserga rounding out the top three.
Well, the biggest prize that they all get to take home, Beppo der Biathlon Fuchs, or the Biathlon Fox Beppo, famous part of the venue and the mascot of this Ruhpolding venue.
And they are everywhere. You can see the crowd of Beppos just on the right-hand side of your screen, and you might have noticed some doing roly-polies down some of the climbs earlier today. But that concludes the sort of first period of individual competitions. Our focus now switches to the relays for the next 2 days before the mass starts on Sunday, and we will be back tomorrow with the men's 4x7.5 kilometre relay. That gets underway at 2:20 Central European Time.